Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. Today is a very important day. Today is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. Today is a day for us to get loud and to bring awareness on this terrible, terrible truth. When I first learned about this terrible problem, I honestly knew nothing about it, only a couple months ago. And when I learned about it, it's something that you can't unlearn, you can't unsee, you can't turn your back on it. And, I had the privilege of meeting Tim Ballard, who is just an absolute hero, the founder of OUR, and, helped me, shine a light on this incredible and devastating subject. And for me, I felt compelled, I felt moved to create something that would reach many people out there, that would hopefully move them to bring awareness, to bring focus, and to bring support for these children out there who need us. They need us to rise up and to be there for them. So I reached out to some of my friends, to Sandra Chavez and Rudy Abreu, to choreograph this piece called Rescue. We created the spoken word, and I sort of, the best way I know how to articulate things is through dance, is through performance, is through art. And create this piece to hopefully bring that awareness out there. I hope you guys are moved by it. I hope it brings some light to the subject that is much needed. And I just want to thank everyone who was a part of it, who helped make it, happen. I mean, we shot it, we filmed it in 3 days. We choreographed, shot it, edited all together in 3 days' time. It was very fast. But when you're passionate about something, when you're moved by something, things get done. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that helped make it possible. But also I want to say a huge thank you to just all the heroes out there who are on the front lines helping these children, and who are risking their lives and who are dedicating their lives to helping this cause. So thank you all so much, and let's get loud.
Please listen. I pray you have ears to hear, because there's an evil approaching. In fact, it's already here. Our children are being taken, tortured, and abused, sold for money, unseen and used, enduring the unspeakable, breathing fear with every breath, their silent screams unanswered, afraid and scared to death. Will anyone rescue me? Will you carry me away? Bring me to a place of no suffering or pain. Come quickly. I pray you have ears to hear, because there's an evil approaching. Oh no, he's here. There are more human slaves in the world today than there has ever been in history. And human trafficking is $1 billion industry. We must save our children from this nightmare, from this hell. Because our children, God's children, are not for sale. You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS.
whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. Oh, I will rescue you.
Derek, thank you so much, brother. That was amazing. It was emotional. It was powerful. And thank you and to your team. Everybody, welcome. Welcome to this day that we are commemorating, that we are recognizing what is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. That's human trafficking, modern day slavery. There are millions of people, millions of children who are forced into this in the United States and in every country of the world. And this is a day we need to rise up for them because the kids keep getting forgotten. We've been very concerned about the children, especially in 2020. We've seen a lot of kind of societal transformations. There's been lockdowns due to COVID-19. There's been protests over different causes. And the common theme throughout is the kids keep getting forgotten. And that's why we have seen a spike in the millions of reports of child sexual abuse originating online here in the United States and elsewhere and outside the United States as well. And so we need to get loud for them to make sure that whatever we're going to do and whatever we're going to improve in this nation, and there's so many things that need improving, let's make sure the kids have a seat at the table, that they are being considered when we're considering national policies and when we're considering how we're going to move this land into a better place. Let's not forget the kids. They need us now. They need us now more than ever. Which is why today has been an amazing day. We've been watching in over 140 cities from London to Hawaii and everywhere in the United States and elsewhere. People have been rising up. They've been demonstrating. They've been getting loud for these kids. Basically, they've been standing in for these children who don't have a voice. Remember, kids can't organize. Kids can't protest. They can't get loud. They can't march. And that's why we forget them. And so we have stood in their place and got loud for them, so that we can make sure that the world has the solutions they need, that we might liberate these children and then help them heal from the horrific hell that they have been through. I want to introduce a very good friend of mine, someone who's in the middle of this battle. His name is Sheriff Chris Swanson, and I want to show you a video to introduce him because he did this video. This video went out last month and it went viral. So you might recognize this guy, and I'm going to show you that video and then I'll bring him to the set.
Oh, I think he took off.
Okay, yeah, well, man.
He took off.
Pastor Hawkins, see, I was going to tell you, we want to be with y'all for real. So I took my helmet off and laid the batons down. I want to make this a parade, not a protest.
So let me bring to you right now a good friend of mine, the Sheriff of Genesee County, Sheriff Chris Swanson. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Thanks for having me, Tim. I love to be back in my OUR family. Thank you.
But can you tell us what you and your teams have been up to over the last years fighting human trafficking and child exploitation?
We have these moments where we can make our mark, and that's how Ghost came to come to this location here in Flint, Michigan, and we at this place have arrested 68 pedophiles that have come to our place into our investigations to have sex with 15, 14, and 13-year-old kids. But we're the chatters. We've rescued over 70 kids under the age of 17 that have fallen through the cracks here in our county, have failed to go to school, that don't show up to juvenile court, that nobody even remembers. And those are your prime victims for human trafficking. There's not a police department in this country that shouldn't have their hand on the throat of human trafficking. Whether you're a small agency or a big agency, we can all link together and make that a part of our priority. And that's what we're doing here in Flint, Genesee County. And we've crushed it for the last 2 years.
Chris, what would you tell the people watching today who, the families, the moms and the dads and the grandmas and the grandpas who are getting loud today, what would you tell them to do in order to kind of activate a movement, the likes of which you have executed in Genesee County?
Well, I'm going to tell you, you've got to do one of three things, and that is you have to educate yourself, you have to give awareness to the things and the people around you, and the third is we have to support or be part of the enforcement. And so that's why the End Human Trafficking hashtag has started the conversations that OUR provides the education. You go to OUR site and watch video after video of what to look for and how to be aware. And for the law enforcement brothers and sisters out there, we have an obligation to enforce, to go out there and find these predators that are out there among us that look like us. And so that's my call to action, and that's what we're doing here in Genesee County on this day of recognition.
Love you so much, brother. Thank you so much for your example. And I know many people will learn from you, law enforcement, for what you're doing out there. Love you so much, brother. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks. Thank you.
So as we think about our domestic operations and what is required, what you as citizens should be doing to kind of wake up your local government to make sure that the tools are being provided, one of those tools, believe it or not, are these amazing K-9 units. When I was a government agent for 12 years, I remember going into houses of pedophiles, and these guys, I mean, they have their child exploitation material, their child rape videos, and sometimes that's the only hope that a child will have to be rescued is what's on the digital media that's being held and possessed by these pedophile monsters. They abuse these victims and they keep it. And we need to find that stuff. And a human being, as great as these officers are, they're not going to be able to find it. And so we provide K-9 units. You've heard of drug sniffing dogs and bomb sniffing dogs, but have you heard of digital media sniffing dogs? These dogs are true heroes. And today, we have a special guest for you. One of our great heroes is one of our K-9s, whose name is Spike. And Spike's handler, who's also a hero, is Detective Chaz Ballo.
Well, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
And this guy is a hero. Now tell us about what he's done so far.
Spike has done a phenomenal job with our stopping child exploitation. Spike has stats are out of the roof. He's doing a great job thanks to your organization. And we're going to continue to work very hard to stop child exploitation.
Can you give us some of those stats that Spike has?
Yeah, he's found a lot of items with child pornography that our pedophiles are using. As you know, Tim, these people are hiding these devices not only from law enforcement but their own family.
Right.
And it's his job and our job to find it and stop it.
And then we know that this, of course, can lead to children, to rescues. I love seeing Spike is just killing it. We see his stats all the time, and I just want to cry when I see this guy because he's a hero, saving kids.
He does a great job. He's great for the kids. He's great.
So let's show us how this works.
Okay, Spike.
You go into a house, right? You can't find everything, but you know there's evidence, there's material that can lead to the rescue of children, the arrest of further monster pedophiles throughout the world, and it's all hidden on a little thumb drive.
Yes, and sometimes even smaller than that, a micro SD card. So, Spike, sit. Seek. Spike, seek. Seek. Come here. Come here. Seek. 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 Good boy. Sit. Sit. Show me. Good boy. Good boy.
There it is. Hidden inside a secret compartment in a book.
It's a micro SD card. Very common where, pedophiles will hide their stash. If it weren't for Spike and the rest of our electronic K-9s out there, we would miss that stuff. And unfortunately, it would still be out there and still being shared amongst all the other pedophiles.
Yeah.
So we certainly, are glad when he finds that. And we're good investigators, but I got to tell you, he doesn't leave any stone unturned.
Unbelievable. It's honestly, I think it's the favorite enforcement activity that we participate in is supplying our law enforcement partners with these amazing K-9 units. I mean, they're heroes. Chaz, you're a hero. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Service. And Spike, we love you, buddy. Keep it up, buddy. Keep it up. We love you.
Come.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deanne Brody Menz, otherwise known as the Lady Deanne, and this is one of my best friends. His name is Stuart Bennett, and we want to thank Tim Ballard for this opportunity. Like he said earlier, a lot of children who go through, and even women who go through just human trafficking in general, they don't even know what their favorite color is, and they can't even identify that based on where they've been and what's going on and what they've experienced. And so I took that concept, and I hope that this will minister to you, that it not only give you hope, but that we will do all that we can to end sex slavery. What is your favorite color? Is it the royalty you see in purple? Or the intensity that you find in orange? Or perhaps your favorite color is associated with your happy-go-lucky, I missed traffic this morning and woke up early enough to meet the night sky before it went away because it knows that my favorite color is black. But have you ever met someone that didn't know their favorite color? That there was not a pot of gold at the end of their rainbow? That somehow traffic lights trigger them, that a prism of light often blinds them. I met a girl who's never been asked her real name, better yet, her favorite color. So when I asked her what her favorite color was, I assumed that maybe it's blue. She said her mother's favorite color was blue, and it was the only emotion she could identify her with. You see, her mother left her at a stoplight, left her daughter for a high she couldn't come down from. She was too young to visit Cloud 9, only to meet Earth's gravitational pull that would often bring her to a cold pavement that would caress the soles of her feet from working overtime. She'd seen many a stoplight, became a red light special, found warmth in yellow's light, but she says, I'm still seen as a green light. I am only as transitional as traffic's light. So when I asked her what her favorite color was again, I assumed that maybe it's red. She said, red reminds me of the last man I slept with, only to become a slave to his ecstasy. He'd rather get off while forcing me to put in hours at a job I never desired to be hired for. I am tired, longing to be fired, all the while the weight of the world is pressed up against my back, pressed up against another leather seat, another tattered bed, another broken promise of freedom that seems to be my most consistent friend. My wrists are as red as the last time I tried to speak up for myself, voice as mute as my mother saying she would come back for me. Now I equate silence with peace, a bloody lip as a well-deserved crown in my box of jewels. At least I have one. I've earned my right to my battle wounds. I've acquired a gorilla-like war mentality that's caused a fire in my chest that just won't cease. And I'm not going anywhere. I can't imagine a good life in a traffic life, so I might as well just sit here at this stoplight. So when I asked her what her favorite color was again, I assumed that maybe it's green. She said, my body is a means of currency, given dirty dollars for a ride in an amusement park that I can never seem to get off of. I have a merry-go-round of emotions, and my hope is as distant as the last time I wept. I am as far away from home like long-distance lovers long to hear each other's voices again. And my suicidal thoughts cause my heart to race like a kid in a candy store, but my life won't stop. So when I asked her what her favorite color was again, I knew that this time, her favorite color would be yellow. She said, black nights only look like yellow mornings. And I'm hoping that one day that yellow sun will wake me up to my funeral. But that yellow sun wakes me up to my harsh reality that I'm alive again, that I can breathe again, that my heart is still shattered like broken levees long to be anchored. And my joy was found at the bottom of the bluest ocean that took my mother's voice away that said she would come back for me. Life was not as cautious with me. Life would not fight long enough for me to know what it means to be free. I am haunted by worthlessness. Maybe freedom is as blue as my mother's favorite color. Perhaps I am traffic, waiting to be hunted down at my next destination. And at that point, I stopped asking her questions. I decided not to assume, but I did ask her this. Why is your life only limited to 4 colors? Because when I see you, I see quite the opposite. Maybe your mother's favorite color was blue because you would find your purpose at the place of your pain. And each red light wasn't meant to stop your light. It was Christ's reminder that his blood was shed for you. And when I see green, I know you were bought with a price, so you can keep on going. And when I see yellow, I know you can love again. I know you can find joy again. I know you can find peace again. You are not as transitional as traffic's light. You are love's pure light. You are coat of many colors, and you don't have to choose just one. You are hope personified, that though you may be knocked down, you will get up. You will get up. You will get up. That there is still beauty rising from your ashes. That there is resurrection instilled in your DNA. And perhaps you are God's favorite color too. So when I asked you what your favorite color was, I should have told you that your favorite color is you.
Deanne, thank you so much. That was, as always, just amazing. And we're excited to announce that we are actually putting together a music video with Deanne and that special number so that we'll be able to get this out and broadcast it even further and eternally forever so people can listen to this and learn and be changed and moved as I was. I now want to introduce you to another great friend to the cause, someone who's been tracking with us, supporting us for many, many years, and you'll know her because almost everybody knows her, and her name is Julianne Hough. Hey,
Hello,
Jules, how you
Tim.
doing? Oh my God! I just told the story about what happened, and we can't say the country. But can you just give me your perspective on that and what happened without saying any names or countries with those children?
You know, it was really interesting. I got a message from a friend who I hadn't spoken to in years, and the message said there are 3 young kids in this country that we found that are living in a ravine, and their father is trying to sell them for $800 a piece. And I don't know why, but I felt the need and the call to reach out to you because I think I don't know why, Julianne, but I think that maybe you might know someone. And I remember getting the text message and feeling so overwhelmed with, first, why would they reach out to me? But 2, I have to get in touch with Tim. I don't even have his number, but I know that this is what his organization does. And so I scrolled through my phone, trying to find you, found your number, text you immediately. You responded like that. And within less than 24 hours, those children were saved. And I remember I got your message and I just broke down crying because somebody who, has not been involved in even just the education of what really is going on in the world up until this year, to know that I was able to have a hand, in helping these children's lives be saved. It was so overwhelming, and I realized how important it is that if we all just educate ourselves and we know and we have the awareness that we all have a superpower, we can all help, we're all heroes. And so, yes, I felt overwhelmed with just awe, but it wasn't about me. It's about every other person that's listening right now, that you have a voice, and now that we have the awareness, we can all be heroes for these children. And whether it's through sex, human organ trafficking, I mean, it's happening more than we even realize, and more today than ever before. And it's up to us to get educated. Everything this year is about getting educated and learning so that we can be better human citizens, global citizens. So I just want to encourage everyone, if you're looking and listening right now, your voice matters. Because like I said, I didn't know that I could even help. But because I had the awareness, like Tim said, I mean, I was able to participate in the, rescue of these children.
Thank you. And it was amazing. I mean, I was so happy our team was able to respond that quickly. But more than anything, I was so happy that you thought of us. But you had educated yourself in the years before that, supporting us. And so I reiterate to everybody, this is what you need to do. And Jules isn't done. I hope I can announce this is okay. We're working on a program right now. Can you explain what we're going to do? I've connected you with our aftercare teams with this program that Jules has called Kinergy. And can you just explain what we're planning on doing to help? Because we take care of thousands of survivors throughout the world who are looking to come back and reintegrate and to be healed. And Jules had this amazing idea. And again, as an example to everybody else, keep thinking of ideas. I wouldn't have had this idea. On her own, she had this idea, and I was like, this is awesome. I mean, people know, you'll know before we know what can be done, because you know what you have, what skill sets you have. So Jules, can you just introduce what we're going to do coming up here soon?
Yeah, so, that was one of my big questions that I asked you. What happens to these children after they are rescued? What's the aftercare? What's their rehabilitation, their trauma therapy? And, what Kinergy is something that I created to help people reconnect back to their bodies. And with what's happening to them, there's so much trauma stored in their body. Our body holds so much information that we want to be able to heal and transform and become the narrative of our own bodies again. And so, we're not psychotherapists or psychiatrists, but what we do is we help give people access to that self-expression and that safety, so that they can then have the resources to go in and get therapy or get anything that they need to enhance their transformation and their healing. So we're going to be working and creating program and curriculum to help these people come back and integrate into their body in a healthy and in a safe way. We're also, working with prisons and all sorts of things, so that, it's all about trauma and therapy, and that happens when we're kids, and then we make our decisions later on in life because of those things. So we need to get them to have the access and the resources at this young age. And so thank you for allowing us to come up with ideas of how to integrate and heal.
No, thank you, Jules. Again, I know thousands have already been touched. Thousands more will be touched by this program. I know that our survivors are so excited that Julianne Hough is going to be connecting with them and helping them heal. And those 3 children, truly, Julianne, they owe their lives to you. And I got to show you those pictures of them. I wish I could show everybody, but Jules got to see the pictures, and it was just amazing to know that they're in a safe place. So Jules, we love you so much. Thank you so much for your support.
Love you, love Operation Underground Railroad, and everything that you guys have continued to lay the foundation for all of us to just support and help in any way we can. So thank you, and thanks. I love you. Mwah.
Thank you, thank you. We've talked a lot about people who have done incredible things they really didn't need to do and maybe shouldn't have done, but they risked it all. And one of those people is Congresswoman Mia Love, who has been a friend for many, many years. And something happened a few years ago on a major operation they're doing in Haiti. Mia is of Haitian descent, and she speaks Creole, and she knows the people, she knows the culture. And we did an operation in Haiti where corruption set in, and all the 9 traffickers who we arrested all got released by corrupt judges. And our contingency plan was going to be this crazy, insane, risky endeavor. And that was, we were going to go back into Port-au-Prince, do a press conference, and show the evidence. The bad guys and the judges didn't realize that we had actually filmed everything. And so we could prove that they actually were guilty, but it was the most dangerous thing. Our hosts told us, you can get safe passage into the press conference, but once you've revealed, we don't know how high this goes. So once you've revealed the truth, we can't promise you'll even live getting back to the airport. And they said, and there's another caveat, the press won't come unless you bring someone who the Haitians consider a famous American. And I said, okay, give me a list. And the first person on the list was Congresswoman Mia Love. And so I called Mia, and I said, Mia, as a friend, I would probably suggest you say no to this, what I'm going to ask you. But as the CEO of Operation Underground Railroad, I'm still asking you to say yes. And that is, will you come? Will you risk your life? And I'm going to let Mia help me tell the rest of this story. Mia Love, thank you so much, and welcome to the program. Mia, I never asked you, what did you tell Jason when I asked you to do this crazy thing? Did you even tell him what we were going to go do in Haiti?
I think the less information, the better when it comes to a spouse, especially someone who's as protective as my husband. So, I just kind of said that I was going to help you. And of course, OUR has a reputation here in the state of Utah, and I think around the world, as being a group that gets results and is for the best cause ever. So I think I just needed to mention OUR, and I think that was it. That's all that's all that he needed. And I think the details just came in later, and I knew it was going to be okay.
We end up the next day, we're in the president of Haiti's office, and I couldn't understand. You speak perfect Haitian Creole. I just saw the expression on your face, and I saw the expression on his face, and I knew that you were owning that meeting with the president of Haiti, and we're going to be showing some pictures as we're talking here. What was that like, briefing him, and what did you say to him?
You know, I think that when it comes to, I guess I was in work mode, you know. When it comes to things like this, I think people have to understand that it's beyond you. I always teach my kids that the world doesn't revolve around you, that you have to use your gifts and talents for the betterment of society, for your country, and for the world. And so there was no time to sit and reflect on where we were, but what we were doing and how important it was to sincerely get across to the president what was going on and that he needed to spring to action. And I felt very firm in that. I felt like we weren't going to leave without the full cooperation of the Haitian government and the president. So that's what it felt like to me. I felt like we had work to do, and we were going to do it, and we weren't leaving until we got it done.
And that's what happened. Mia told the president, you've got to help these guys. He reissued the arrest warrants. He fired the judges, and we went back and made these arrests. And it wouldn't have been possible except for Mia coming down and being brave in the face of a real threat and helping us liberate more children and putting more bad guys away. What can you say to other people about how they can follow suit and just stand up and rise up for these kids?
Tim, I think you give me too much credit. I think it's important for us to know that it's not the place that you are in that makes it different. The little things are done by big hearts and people standing up to do big things that are beyond themselves. I think that this country, and what I believe in the United States of America, is that we look at things, seemingly impossible things, and we say, we can do that. We can help there. We can do this. And I know that you feel this way, and I know so many people that work with OUR feel this way, that we have a job to do to save these children. They don't have anybody else to depend on. And what I would say is that to everybody, I would give them the same advice I give my children, the advice that my father gave me, is that the world doesn't revolve around you. God put you on this earth to do something beyond yourself. God put you on this earth to make sure that you leave your mark. Maybe small, maybe big, but big things happen on small hinges. Big turns happen and gates open up with small hinges. And so everyone has something that they can offer to society. And I can't imagine anything more noble, more needed, more important than saving children at all stages of development, vulnerable children, children that need your help and would not have anybody else. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be part of it. And I will continue to do anything I can to help you in this cause, so that at least my children will know that they have something to offer too, that they can do something.
Awesome. Mia, thank you so much. We love you, and we're excited to keep working with you to help liberate God's children. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Love you. God bless you.
Over the years, we've had so many amazing supporters, law enforcement, aftercare heroes, statesmen, celebrities. So many people have gotten involved, and that is the only way to solve this problem. We need everybody's unique skill sets. With millions of children forced into slavery, it's the only solution that's going to work. And I'm going to introduce now some of those heroes, some of those people that have gotten involved in a big way. And to kind of kick off this video montage, I want to introduce one of my very dearest friends and the single biggest donor to Operation Underground Railroad, and that is Tony Robbins. Tony, thank you so much, and take it away.
Hey everyone, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I want to thank you for joining us on this special day of get everybody aware of this trafficking. This is insane, to come together for a higher purpose, but actually do something about it. The fact that trafficking even exists at this stage in humanity is insane. And I've had direct experience because I've gone out with our team. I've been working with them for the last 4.5, almost 5 years now. I've gone to some Caribbean countries, for example, undercover, and experienced the insanity of this. There's a darkness here you can't even imagine. Young children, literally 10, 12 years old, tied to a bed, made to do unspeakable things all day long, but it can stop now. This is real. This needs to change. We need to rise up. Do what you can today. All of us together can make a difference.
I rise up for children because every child deserves a childhood.
Yo lucho contra la trata de personas porque quiero un mundo donde los niños sean felices.
I rise up for children because I believe that all children will receive a good living.
I'm fighting human trafficking for prisoners to be set free.
This movement is about protecting our innocent and seeking justice for our most vulnerable.
En la Policía Nacional de Colombia apoyamos a OUR. Somos compañeros de batalla.
I rise up for children because nobody can protect them except us.
I rise up for children because I choose to be the barrier between an innocent child and someone who seeks to do them harm.
I rise up for children because they are all entitled to their rights that are being violated.
I fight against child exploitation and trafficking because I have a responsibility to be a man of action.
Yo lucho contra la trata de personas porque es uno de los delitos que atenta contra la humanidad.
ฉันยืนหยัดที่จะทำงานเพื่อเด็กๆค่ะ
I chose this career path because I strongly believe that every child should live a normal childhood.
I rise up for children because I don't want other children face the same what I faced years ago.
I rise up for children because every child is innocent.
No one in this world deserves to be anyone's slave.
I'm with OUR because OUR is doing rescue and providing the comprehensive support to the children so they can live a dignified life after reintegration. Thank you so much.
I challenge all of y'all to take a stand and rise up for children.
I support OUR because they support victims' quest for justice. And so I urge everybody to do same. Thank you so much.
It's $150 billion that was made off of human trafficking in 2017 in the United States alone. We're here to raise awareness. We hope that you hear our voice, and we hope that you can help.
Thank you so much, all you amazing heroes who are working tirelessly right now throughout the world. It was an honor to see you and hear your voices and see your faces. Thank you so much. Okay, our next guest is a very close friend to Operation Underground Railroad, one of our ambassadors. You know her as an international recording artist, dancer, violinist, and just overall just awesome entertainer. And it's our friend Lindsey Stirling is here with us. Lindsey,
hello.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For coming. Lindsey, tell us, when was the first time you remember hearing about human trafficking, and what was kind of your evolution into engaging in it?
Yeah, I actually went to one of your events at Sundance Film Festival years ago, like so long ago, and I remember having that reaction that everyone has of just like, this exists, like it's sickening and it makes you feel dark and gross, and you know, and I thought I need to be involved in this, but then after I left the event, the fear set in of like, how do I talk about this? How do I share this? You know, this is scary stuff. And I really try my best, and I always have tried my best to make my art a place full of light and a place where people come to my channel or my interview, whatever I'm doing, I want them to feel safe and uplifted when they go there. And so I was like, I can't talk about this. I can't bring darkness into what I do because that goes against my whole mission statement. And then I just kept running into you guys, and I realized there's so much more here. It's not enough just to be a vessel of light. You have to be willing to take your light into darkness, and that was a transformation moment for me, and that's why I've, you know, for the last few years been as involved as I possibly can be with everything you guys do.
That's amazing. How would you, because I have these conversations with people all the time just like this.
Yeah.
And it's the hardest thing for me, because after 17 years, I'm like, I thank people just for coming to and listening to me talk, because it's like, I know you know what I'm going to talk about. It's pretty much the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's the worst possible thing. People superimpose their own children's faces onto the kids and the stories they hear, and I get it. They want to run from it.
Yeah.
What would you tell them? Because you went through it, And then once you got through, I mean, definitely you're shedding some innocence to enter this place. Can you give them encouragement that it's okay once you get there? You see what I'm saying? Like, what would you say to them?
You know, I think I honestly carried some guilt with me for a while, because once you've heard about it, and that innocence is gone. And so then to kind of run from it and be like, well, I can't dive into this, it's too much. Like, it was hard for me. One of my best friends, Janie, she works extensively with you guys, and every time she would talk about it, I would feel this guilt of like, I should be talking about it too. And so once I finally just was like, I'm gonna step in, I'm gonna talk about this, and I'm gonna bring it into common conversations, it was almost like a weight was lifted, even though I was stepping into something dark, because I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and I can tell you what you just said is my experience too, and what that weight is lifted is God, because you are helping His children, and His burden is light if you get in it. But you got to get in it first, and she did it. You can do it. Now, Lindsey, later on in the program, you're going to be performing for us.
Yes.
What are you going to be performing?
I'm going to play. It's one of my favorite songs to play live. It's my own rendition of Hallelujah.
Why do you like this song, and how is it kind of connected to what we're
talking about? I just wanted to play something that kind of captured the emotions that I went through when I found out about this. It starts out very somber and like sad, and then it goes to a very hopeful place. And the more I've listened to you speak, and the more I've dove into this, I realized that this is a message of hope. It's not, it is a message of horror, but once you actually step into it, you realize I'm part of the hope. And that's what I hope people will feel.
Awesome, perfect. You are part of the hope, you're part of the solution. And we'll let you go get ready, because we're excited for you to come back out in a little bit and hear Hallelujah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Lindsey.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Most of you by now know about Operation Underground Railroad, but perhaps you don't all know about the origins of it. I was working as a special agent for the U.S. government, an undercover operator, working in the dark world of human trafficking. And in 2013, I was working 2 different cases. And there were cases that I got involved in believing that they could have been a U.S. case. But in the end, they weren't. They didn't involve U.S. laws or U.S. children. And so to continue working that case, we had to quit. And we had to create a private entity to attack these particular cases and help rescue certain children. It's the story of a little boy who I learned about in 2013, a little boy who was only 3 years old when he was kidnapped from his church, where his father was the pastor. This little boy was actually born in the United States. He was a U.S. citizen, which is how it got my attention. And I wanted to do something. I wanted to help this father who lost this little boy. I wanted to help him find his son. And I flew him up to our office, and we sat down, and I asked him a question. I said, Gesno, his name is Gesno Marty. I said, Gesno, what is being done to find your son? And he answered my question with a question of his own that I call it the miserable question, and I pass it on to you so we can all be a little bit miserable together, but it's an important question. He said, do you have children? And I'd ask you, do you have children, or do you have grandchildren, or nieces, or nephews, or friends, or students? And I said, yes, I do. He said, could you sleep at night knowing that one of your children's beds was empty and you didn't know where that child was? Immediately I said, no, of course I couldn't. And he said, well, to answer your question about what's being done to find my son, because I can't sleep, I literally walk the streets of Port-au-Prince, arbitrarily picking some neighborhood, the darker the better, the more crime-ridden the better, with flashlight in hand, and I pray to God that I'll hear my son cry. And as he was talking, the pain in me grew, and the tears in my eyes flowed with his. And I made him a promise right then and there that we would never stop until we found his son. That there are things we can do, that there are tactics that haven't been employed. And the pain I was feeling, I think, was so great, because I could literally multiply his pain by 2 million children, by 4 million or 8 million adults and grandparents and moms and dads. This is what we're talking about. It is the plague of our generation. And I just want to do whatever I could to alleviate the pain here. And so when I learned I couldn't work that case as a U.S. special agent, and after we quit and formed Operation Underground Railroad, we went into Haiti. hand in hand with Gesno Marty, and we actually identified his traffickers. And what was horrifying about the scene is that we found the place where the traffickers were. They were in a compound, and inside that compound were 28 other children. And I went into this place with hidden cameras to capture the evidence, and I was looking for little Gardy everywhere. I couldn't find him. I hoped he was there somewhere. Sure enough, I'm not in there for 5 minutes, and the traffickers come up and say, all these kids are for sale. These kids are like 1 year old up to 13 years old, and they're all for sale for $15,000 each, no questions asked. But before I could actually pick a kid, I turned, and this got caught on undercover camera footage. This little boy who's 2 years old walks up to me, and I pick him up, and I decide this is the one I have to buy. I felt something. I need to buy this kid in the sting operation. It was shortly after that I learned he had a little sister who was following us around, scared to death, because how many Americans have come and picked up a child in that place and disappeared forever? And this little girl was actually kind of trolling me and challenging me, and I figured out this is the big sister. So I actually told them both in the moment, in this dark place, I told them who I was and that I'm going to help get them out of here. So we ended up getting those kids out. We took them to the place where we did the operation. We had to do the purchase away from the false orphanage. So we took the two kids to a hotel where we had it all wired, ready for audio and video to capture the evidence, and we did the sting operation there. And the bad guys sold us the kids. And the greed in their eyes, that they could equate children to money, was just astonishing. They walk out and the police converge upon them and everybody gets arrested. And it was a beautiful operation, because the best part was that then the police, along with our operators, were going to be at the false orphanage to liberate the other 28 kids. And it was a beautiful day until about 45 minutes later, it wasn't. When I got the phone call and they said, Tim, we've looked through every kid, we've been to every place in this, every corner of this compound. We do believe Gardy was once here, but he's not here anymore. We think he's already been sold. And now I have to have the most profound conversation maybe with any human being in my life. I need to go tell Gesno Marty that we didn't find his son. And I walked into the lobby of this hotel where he was waiting for me, and I sat down with him, and no words were necessary. I just started to cry. He was crying. I didn't have his son. That was the plan. That's what we knew was going to happen. We dreamed was going to happen. And I did eke out that we did rescue 28 kids. And then Gesno stops. And almost magically his tears disappear, and he stands and he says, why are you crying? I said, because I'm worried about the one we didn't get. He's like, no, you're missing the point. He said, we rescued 28 kids, and those 28 kids would not have been rescued had my son not been kidnapped. If he had been kidnapped, nobody would have showed up here. And these 28 kids would still be enslaved and sold to the worst monsters in the world. And then Gesno Marty said maybe the most profound thing I've ever heard anyone say to me. He said, if I have to give up my son so that these 28 kids can be rescued, that is a burden I'm willing to bear. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And then the next day I watched and went with him to the police. When he told them, he said, if you can't find the parents for these children who were rescued in the name of my son, then I will be their father. I will take them in. And he went home that day with 8 children. And I'm so pleased to be able to tell you we have a surprise. Gesno Marty is here with us right now. Gesno, come on up, buddy, and say hi to all these people. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Gesno, what would you tell the people? I mean, here we are trying to rise up for children. We are still looking for little Gardy. We will find him. You know that.
Absolutely.
And I know that.
Whenever I hear that, I have a smile, because having a child that has been adopted and not knowing what is happening to him right now, 10 years later, it's a wound that will never be made, and that members of my family will never overcome. But with the hope that we will, have him back soon, that help us keep on moving and tell other people in my situation that don't lose hope. The OUR and other organizations are trying very hard to make people aware of the situation and help those who've been affected by, by this kind of crisis to find their loved ones. And I'm pretty sure that, my joy will be very, very great when we finally find him. I'm living for that now.
And we are working right now harder than ever.
Yeah.
We can't give away the plans, but we have a lot of plans in motion right now. We will find him. Gaston, I want to show you a picture. I don't think you've ever seen this picture before.
Please do.
And it's right here. Check this picture out. Do you remember this moment? You and I?
I think we were in an operation somewhere, and when
I just revealed something to you.
Yeah.
Remember what I revealed to you?
Yeah.
What was it? But to this point,
we didn't find him, right?
You didn't know. We didn't know. Mm-hmm. You didn't know why we were up there because I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah, that's true.
And all these operations, we can't get into the details.
Yes.
But what we were doing was something I didn't want to get you too kind of worked up.
Emotional. So when I heard about it, I was happy that the work I've been doing, but my emotions, I couldn't control that.
So we're both crying in this picture, right?
Yes.
But then you said something to me. So you said, "Don't misinterpret."
Yeah.
You said, "This is the happiest day of my life."
Yeah, yeah.
What did you mean by that? Why did you say this was the happiest day of your life?
Because all the efforts that, since my son has been kidnapped and I didn't have so many people involved, trying to bring him back. And I was very confident that we're gonna find him, and it gave me hope that we will find him anyway, no matter what, we will find him. So I couldn't keep my emotions. I couldn't control that at that time. And I know that I will cry. I know very soon that we'll have him. But when that happens, I'm telling you, I'm gonna cry a lot. Yeah, and I'm sure that OUR will continue even after finding my son. Will be the light, the hope for other people in my situation. And
I feel really good. I don't like to predict anything, but I know. I just feel that this is the year.
My prayer, the next time I come from in front of the camera to talk about it,
we'll have Gardy.
Yes, he'll be with me.
Pray for it, guys. Pray for it. Help us. We think we're going to bring this little boy home. We have a plan.
Yes.
Gaston, we love you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you for everything you're doing at OUR as well.
Lindsey, thank you so much. That was absolutely stunning, amazing, as always. And now I get to introduce my most special, by far, my most special guest, and that is my wife, Catherine. I told the story a little bit ago about looking for little Gardy Marty and how it led us to these two children, and then my wife told me she wants to be their mother, which was astonishing and stunning to me, and all of a sudden we're bringing two more children into our home. And what was that like for you? And then tell everybody what we ended up doing because of it.
Well, I never thought that I would adopt. We have plenty of children already, and but it just became the right thing. And when Tim was keeping me updated about the operation and the things that were happening and these two kids, and I just knew. I didn't have to debate about it. I just knew that here's what we need to do next. And so we started on that process, and it took a really long time. Then after, what, 3 years, we finally make the trip down to go visit them. And Tim had gone a couple times, quite a few times. How many times do you think you went down to?
A couple times a year, at least, yeah.
And but I didn't want to go because I knew once I went and then had to come home without them, that would be really hard. So I waited till I was going to go and be able to bring them home. God's love was there. God's love was with me. They didn't speak English. I didn't speak Haitian, but we worked it out. And
you learned a song. You learned a song in Haitian called "I Am a Child of God," and you sang that to them every night. And that was really our only verbal communication for quite some time.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, what do I want to be able to say right away? And what's more important than knowing, for them to know that they are children of God. It's been an amazing journey for me. It's been an amazing journey for my biological children. And the hardest part about going to pick them up was all the other children in the orphanage. And there's actually, they caught it on camera. I didn't know that they were filming that part, but I went in to meet the friends of my little children that I was going to bring home with me, and I was just overwhelmed with the desire to just pour love on them, and I was just praying that God would let them feel His love through me. And so I just was able to hug as many of them as I could, and that was the hardest part, was leaving those kids behind. And that's why we started this organization, Children Need Families, so that we can bring awareness and bring people together to solve this huge injustice. These children that are without a home, without a family, and we've just decided, let's try and fix that. Let's try and bring people together. There are people that want to adopt but don't have the funds. There are people that have the funds but not the means to, not the opportunity or environment to be able to adopt. And let's bring that together. We can solve that. We can, people that can donate. People that need to adopt, reach out, and we can hopefully help solve some of those obstacles.
Children Need Families is a project within Operation Underground Railroad. If you go to cnfnow.org, you can get involved. We have a historical precedent for how we got rid of the legalized form of slavery in this nation that lasted for so long. And it's insane that it lasted that long, but what was the final answer? What ended it? Because we can maybe learn something for modern day slavery. It wasn't that Abraham Lincoln just raised his hand one day and said, I'm going to finish it, it's going to be over. I love Abraham Lincoln, but that's not what happened. What happened was, for some reason, in the 19th century, people got loud. The abolitionist movement, led by Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman and Levi Coffin and Harriet Jacobs, and so many thousands who met and taught, and they got so loud. Thank you for showing up, and I'm sure a lot of you are asking yourselves right now, what can I do? I've got to do something, but I don't know. I don't have skill sets. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not an operator. I'm not a statesman. What can I do? There's so much you can do. First, go to our website, ourrescue.org, and sign up to be a volunteer. We have an amazing volunteer unit where you go in, you take a test, fill out an application. This is an intense volunteer opportunity where we will deploy you, of course, not on rescue operations, but in a way that you can get really involved in getting supplies to law enforcement, getting what's needed to our aftercare programs and to our survivors. There's so many ways you can get involved. Please sign up and become one of our vetted volunteer. Join that amazing group of people that are just getting involved in ways that are unique and customized to your skill set. And also, of course, we can't do anything without funding. So there's a great opportunity right now for you to donate to Operation Underground Railroad. Check out the screen below. There's the information you need to donate right now to help us go from being in 26 countries where we are today to 126 countries where we want to be by next year. This is happening everywhere. We need your help. Get involved. We love you, and God bless you.
What's up, what's up, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to Operation Underground's 2020 Rise Up for Children. Make some noise if you care about kids.